Hey guys, I am finally back. I told you guys I was gonna come back. This is gonna be part 3 of the American Horror Story breakdown. Now today I have a bit of a special thing for you guys. I will be discussing basically the trailer breakdown of the American Horror Stories new anthology. We're gonna be breaking it down to the most deepest thoughts of how the trailer has been looking like. So definitely I wanted to say you guys thank you for the other high reviews for the previous 2 videos that I did. I'm very happy and grateful for the subscription as well as the views. Now we know that the trailer has just been released, and we're definitely going to be looking upon what is in store for us, this new anthology timeline that is branched off from American Horror Stories. Now, as we know, if we look closely, we realize that the title itself has basically been, in a weird way, carved out in such a way where it's paying homage to the very first season. And as we start getting down to like what the small details of each of the season and the anthology is gonna look like, how it's gonna pay homage to each of the thing. Now here is the cover of the American Horror Stories. It's gonna be coming out July 15, as well as is going to be starring new things such as the trailer will be releasing in a few, so here it is. Very interesting so far. No anthology twist. Very interesting. So you guys just saw a small little ending of the trailer. So what I got from the trailer a bit so far, because I'm gonna go very in depth with it, but what I got so far from it is you could clearly see that this new rubber woman is basically entering the world of American Horror Story, which means it's gonna be a connection bridge between the other season, but it feels as if the murder house is the focal point of all the other connections of the season. It's like each part of the season has like a mural inside the murder house. So that's very interesting. One thing I would like to say is, when we start learning about how each episode, from what I have learned and the sources, each episode at least an hour long. So it's like their own conclusion, beginning, middle, and end, but it's gonna be an hour long. So don't think of each episode as a continuous, but like its own conclusion story. So it's like a little snack for us to gear up to get ready for American Horror Story double feature, which is, I'm still baffled about, we in the 10th season of American Horror Story. And one thing that I'm gonna talk about in the next video after this is more information on double feature and some of my predictions that I think that's gonna be happening. So as we start getting to understand that the anthology part is not only just gonna be dealing with other season, but as well as new ones. So here is the trailer So let's look deep at the trailer. We realize that this is Los Angeles, and we could clearly see the Wonder Woman showing us inside back to the murder house. Now when she approached it, you realize that inside of you see different mythological creatures. So each door has like a pathway, and each pathway has a different entity. There's a spider woman, there's a lady with dolls, and there's looks like this ghoul man. There's a saw man, and it cuts out to shows, it's going deeper in the layer. And we have the original Rubber Man, and it's like a battle between them two. And now she emerged victorious. So as you guys just saw the trailer, and like I said before, I find it very strange that back in season 9, 1984, it did mention that, there were times where back in the 70s, people only talked about Bigfoots, aliens, and Loch Ness monsters, right? Don't you find it strange that double feature is coming out August 25th, but at the same time, the American Horror Story spin-off, based on the trailer, has different mythological creatures in a way. One of the tall guys kind of reminds me of Slender Man in a way. And if you could see that, this red background is very ominous when it comes to paying homage to the very first season, right? But also, if you really pay attention to inside the trailer and the different path of each corridor where each monsters are, you realize that, it has a hint of double feature in it. Now, we all realize that based on the parts of how Ryan Murphy was explaining it, he said that, the double feature will be coming out the next following month, but American Horror Stories is gonna have different parts of it's like a conclusion of a conclusion for each season that we saw before. So maybe we will revisit season 7, what happened to Allie after she became like the new leader of cult of Scum, or we could also revisit what happened at Roanoke at the end of the season. There's so many tie-ins that they might do. It's kind of cool that they went back to the original seasons instead of creating something so new that we're not used to, And I still always feel as if there's so many different mysteries behind each season, how they ended. Like, for an example, we don't really fully understand, and let's say in season 6, when they said that Lady Gaga's character was the first Supreme, right? And if you go back to Murder House, you had different people that had different names under Montgomery's, and we know we had a Supreme that was named Montgomery. I would love them to go back and explain like the ties in between all the other Supreme. Like, if Lady Gaga's character was the first Supreme, who was the second Supreme, or even the third Supreme? They should make a alternative part where they should bring back all the Supremes, or like give us what were their powers besides mastering the 7 wonders. And even season 8, when they were giving us how Michael Langdon, Antichrist, stuff like that, and how if a warlock managed to perform the 7 wonders, they might end up becoming the first Supreme, but the male version, which is an alpha. They should follow that story as well. I would really be interested, because at first the ending of season 8, when they basically, I thought one of the boys were a warlock. Timothy, I thought he was a warlock, and I thought he was gonna be like the alpha. That would be cool to see the first Alpha Supreme male version. What would his powers be, besides him being a warlock and having to master the 7 wonders. That's a lot of ties-ins we could. And then I know American Horror Story did mention like angels. We only got death angels from season 2, but I would love to see them reintroduce angels or even God hierarchy in the series. But like I said, this has been very fun, the small breakdowns of the season. And like I said, I know this is gonna be one of the most interesting, how they're gonna put the first episode together. Now we know that the first 2 episodes for American Horror Stories are named Rubberman and Rubber Woman 2. So I'm interested to see how it's like the trailer showed. There's gonna be a fight between those 2, Rubber Woman and Rubber Man. So I can't wait to see which one prevails. But like I said, what do you guys think? Should they revisit some tie-ins that they didn't finish for the past seasons into American Horror Stories? Like what happened after Cordelia finished becoming the Supreme? How was her reign during before Michael Langdon became like an adult? I think a lot of people would love to see what happened during that time and revisit how the Warlocks lost their house because Cordelia revealed that there were witches around the world. I think that would be a interesting tie-in in the future they might talk about. But like I said, in the next video I will be talking about double feature, and I think that's gonna be probably my most interesting because I have a bit of a hint or surprise that I might know the second half of the cast, and I think they're not trying to make people too excited yet. But I know that, remember when COVID happened and Ryan Murphy said that season 10 is gonna be like a big anniversary season for him because he's bringing back the original people for American Horror Story. So the people that started the show for him, he wants to bring them into season 10 to, like, I would say a commemoration or a congratulation, like, yeah, we did the 10th season and this is how far we have gone. So I think this is gonna be a very interesting year for American Horror Story. Like I said before, like I said, you guys could like and subscribe to my channel. Like I said, I'm still growing my channel and still trying to get more equipments for more coverage of the American Horror Story, because I am a big fan of American Horror Story. And like I said, when I start gearing up for the podcast, I will be covering that for my show, and I think this is probably some of the best TV shows people could talk about, because there's so many speculations behind the season, as well as so many different tie-in. Now that we have a new spin-off, that, let's say if a season finish here, we could go back and watch if there's gonna be like a tie-in, because we already get a small little plot of what the season's gonna be. In the first episode, new family moves into the murder house to witness the history of it, and that's how everything got tied in. So that's how the anthology twist has started. So I can't wait. Like I said before, part 5 of the video will be coming up, which will be the double feature analysis, and how the season, the way that they're predicting the season is not how everybody expected it to be, and how it's gonna be more interesting than we thought. So I can't wait for you guys to see and hear about what I have to say about that. comment, and subscribe to the channel. And I can't wait to see you guys in part 6. Bye bye.